function, pumping and dumping, manipulate the market, flooded from the darknet, flooded from the deep web, keep it a secret. Every exchange got the nerdy brains trading on the frequent.
Okay, so we have this loaded. Just give it a moment. I just want to make sure we have the audio. Okay, perfect. All right. Hello, everyone out there on the live stream. First of all, sorry for starting late. Instead of being abnormally late and trying to make everything go, and just note if you hear clicking sounds, it's because I'm also loading something else in the background. Let's see here. Sorry, give me one moment. Actually, I could just call it that. But yeah, we basically, this episode's going to involve a lot of VMs. So I basically, I decided to delay it an hour to make sure all the VMs are installed. And in fact, I'm actually installing one more VM right now because I realized that a certain way I was going to teach this was not going to work originally. And now I decided, hey, you know what? I'm actually going to install this thing and run it just so I could teach this. And we'll start. So basically, I want to start off with, and also Hydration Squad. Thank you for everyone who's in chat right now. And before we continue on, I actually want to shout out, if I can go to my creator dashboard, because we've already had 2 people that follow us, so I'd like to shout them out while I'm here. I believe on Twitch we had, we had a couple people here. We had, let's see, we had Metaphysical One, Detroit, Cedifleur, who's someone who normally go to our meetings in the past, so welcome. And actually, let me reset my camera here. We're usually a lot more professional on this show, but Crypto Barons, this is the show where truly everything goes wrong. And Domino _Blue, so thank you for following us. And now I'm going to go into the quick spiel about what this show is as I do the finishing touches on the setup for this VM. So, welcome to Crypto Barons. The way I like to describe this show, and don't worry, we're going to get into actual stuff in a moment, but I just want to get this stuff out of the way, is, where did this go? Okay, this is a puzzle in of itself. Is that, yeah, it should be in downloads. Okay. But no, what the way I often describe this show is this is a show about, this is so weird. Should I just do all files? That might bring it up. Let's see. Here we go. Ah, interesting. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. I'll explain in a moment. I just want to, let's turn off this VM. I actually might load it later on a different laptop, so that might be exciting to see. So while all that's going on, I'm going to do a quick search. Because I know you can do this. Let's see, I know you can do this. Let's see. Maybe that's it. Let's see. Okay, we'll follow this later. I'll end this later. So enough dilly-dallying. Let's get right into this episode. Again, sorry about that. So, welcome to Crypto Barons as I do a quick hydration. I'm blockchainless today because G.I. Jack decided to go to sleep early. I don't blame him. In this episode, what we do normally at Crypto Barons, I describe it as major construction happens near me, is that we're about covering blockchain technologies of cryptocurrencies as technologies. this is sort of an issue because the reason I made this show is normally when you look up cryptocurrencies online or blockchain technologies, there's a lot of snake oil going on. There's a lot of buzzwords, a lot of marketing, promotional material. And while that's, marketing's good, you have to let people know your product exists. I'm more interested in sort of like, while we do cover bits and markets and community here on certain episodes, we're more interested in like, as we covered in our first episode, what is a blockchain? How does a blockchain work? Where are the components in it? Like, how does the actual code works? If there's hardware involved, what hardware do you need? How's the PCB laid out? How does it interact with your computer? How does it interact with a network? And so that's what this show is about. So if you're here to learn what's all the hubbub of all these certain snake oil, these buzzwords, and what's a snake oil terminism, that's what we do here. And we've covered a bunch. Last time we saw each other, we were actually at DEFCON Safe Mode Online, in which we took a look at all the cryptocurrency stuff going on during DEFCON Safe Mode. And because of the way the scheduling works, I had to push everything 2 weeks back, and now it's just show. Also, note for anyone looking at our schedule, you might know you're going to see after the show, I didn't realize Master of Unlocking was on repeat, so that will happen next Sunday. So I'm pushing that one back. Everything else should be normal. And because I apparently skipped ahead, if you're wondering, for example, what this DEFCON 201 thing is in the corner, we are a computer hacker group that's in North New Jersey, particularly in Jersey City, New Jersey of Hudson County. We meet third Friday of every month, usually around 7 p.m.-ish time, although because of COVID and we're live streaming, we're still trying to figure out time scheduling stuff. We normally meet third Friday of every month. Our upcoming meeting, which we've announced in advance, is going to be Mac themed, so it's going to be Apple devices, software, network, and products. Will be on September 18th. And if you want to know more about us and this live stream and stuff, you can go to defcon201.org and see all the crazy shenanigans that are happening. So, what's going to be today's episode? Well, a little bit of backstory. I had to really figure out why I wanted to do this episode, because as I said, I have a ton of topics we can do, and there was a different topic that was going to happen this day, but then it turned out that in order to sync it on the type of chain it's on, it's going to take like probably a week. Like, even though it's supposed to take 2 to 4 days, I'm like gonna give it a week, and we're gonna probably cover that next episode. So this kind of threw me a pickle what to do, and so I'm gonna do something that originally was gonna be scheduled like earlier next year. So we're jumping ahead here, and it makes me nervous, just like the way my coding makes me nervous when I have to publicly demonstrate this, because then like everything goes wrong with the demo gods. But I'm going to cover the topic to the best of my ability, and I think you guys, gals, let's see, I know that for Master of Unlocking, I call the audience key pins and driver pins. What should I call crypto barons? Maybe, blocks and hashes, there we go. All you blocks and hashes out there. Which is about cold storage wallets. You probably hear them be brought up a lot. Especially, there's a lot of, like, I'm in a chair, so I can't really do, like, the whole, but just imagine, like, oh no, there it is, this exchange got hacked, $8 billion lost, we need to do max security. And so a lot of people have flocked towards cold storage crypto wallets, hardware wallets, and other such things. You may have heard of things like Gapless and stuff like that, and you might be wondering, like, what the heck is all of that? So we're gonna try some stuff here, and I'm gonna kind of explain what is sort of a hardware wallet, the different ways hardware wallets have been hacked in the past, and we're gonna go over, like, there's commercially available, like anything, you can either make it yourself or buy it pre-made. People out there would like to lead you to believe that you have to buy a hardware wallet with everything put together with like a fancy logo and everything, and military grade, alien grade encryption and stuff like that, and that's it. But actually, you can make your own cold storage wallets at home with just USB sticks. I mean, there's also a little bit we're going to go over about security with USB sticks, but if you want to just increase your security and have an actual, like, physical, like, here's my wallet, like it's in your hands and it's not always connected to the internet, and like you could possibly get pwned and stuff, we're going to attempt to the best of my ability, because remember this is supposed to be a later episode, of showing that off, which is why we're going to use a lot of virtual machines. So let's do the stuff, and I'm going to take my video background and I'm going to shrink myself, as I always do on these episodes if I can. Okay, I think that's as she said, I think that's a good size. And let's put this actually in full screen mode. Come on, there we go. And we're gonna we're gonna turn on the browser, and we're gonna get into this. So first of all, oh, that's a problem. There we go. Okay, so if you haven't noticed, and actually, shit, I forgot about this. Here's an actual better idea for all of this. Let's put me in the corner up here. So it's going to be a little bit less messages, but I love seeing the messages. I enjoy the lurkers out there, because if you guys are not saying anything, I'm just going to assume that everyone is like learning and following along and watching hentai and stuff like that. But if you have any questions about what I'm talking about, if you have any questions about hacking or myself or the current situation, such as Trump trying to sell his autographs for like $10,000, it's not even worth a penny, in my opinion. But and all of that crazy crap, just message in chat and I'll talk to you. I will know that if you like to play stupid games, I will award stupid prizes. So because we've had that in the past, and that's something that I'll deal with. Also, can everyone hear me fine out there? Because I have myself on mid-volume here, and that should work. If you can't hear me, let me know, and I'll try to raise the decibels a bit. Okay? So here we go. So just to recap, this is our website, DEFCON 201. Eventually, we're going to get rid of the rainbows, because while we enjoy the rainbows and taste the rainbow, you know, that was done for Pride. We're going to have all sorts of website updates. In fact, the original thing we were going to show today had to involve our website. So hopefully the next Crypto Barons, you're going to see all of those improvements, as well as a really unique take of how to access DEFCON 201. And the second to last thing before we go into our topic is I've done some stuff. I've done some coding stuff and links and organizations behind the scenes. So you probably noticed in the past, which we do love, if you like the content that you see, and we're going to get into the content in a moment, trust me, you can hit that bell or follow or subscribe or like or share on any of our 3 major platforms, soon to be 4, we'll announce that later, on Twitch TV, DLive, and YouTube. Now originally, if you did follow us, we would get alerts on Twitch and we would announce those because we like when people follow us. But what I've done is I've gone in and I've made my OBS live streaming thing more. Yes, I will raise it a couple of decimals. There we go. I just want to make sure that when I talk the loudest that it wasn't hit yellow. So this should be a good range. So you might peak a little bit. Let's put it that way. There we go. So it might peak a little bit into the yellow, but it should be good. If you can hear me better, let me know. Thank you, Metaphysical. But I basically made the OBS even more of a mess than it already is, the broadcasting software we're using. And now, if you do anything on Twitch, DLive, or YouTube, I'm going to get alerts for those. In fact, DLive has its own alert systems for like lemons, which we covered DLive on episode 3. And if you have lemons or you want to donate us some cryptocurrency or whatever, I think we need to still set up the wallet for that, but still, you want to send us lemons, diamonds, whatever, follow us on DLive, we will get those. Also note, as we always do on Crypto Barons, I will go into the DLive client and I will send out whatever lemons we currently have in there. So I try to put, when I get more money in, I'm going to put a lot more lemons in, but just to note, the more lemons you donate, the more they will be evenly distributed to our watchers near the end of the episode. Okay, good. So now I get alerts for everyone. So if you follow us on YouTube, I will see that follow and shout you out. So Metaphysical, I don't know if you follow us, but if you hit that follow button, I should be able to see the notification for it. I'm still working. There were some sound effects I wanted to add, but I couldn't get to that point yet. So I'm gonna deal. All the sound effects are proper on DLive, and of course if you're on Twitch, follow us. That's great. We are gonna work on soon, because we know people have been wanting to donate us, and I want to bring in because I'm not going to have them this episode, but I want to bring in actual physical hardware wallets and we take them apart on camera. I need more lockpicking tools. We want better cameras, halo light, better sound equipment. Because of the way Twitch is, we've already reached affiliate and possibly partner status, but because of the way their terms of services, that's why we haven't jumped on it yet, even though we have all of those alerts already pre-built. We are going to try to work on alternative systems, including various cryptocurrencies that you can donate to us so we can pull out of. So that's something that will also be announced soon. So cheers. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of it all. There are multiple types of hardware crypto wallets. So the concept here is that normally, and I can't bring it up here, unfortunately, because we don't have the screen share, but if I could, you probably are familiar with either a crypto wallet, such as the one that's on your desktop where you load the application. Sometimes it's a QT, sometimes it's an executable, and you load that up. And you're able to, and that's how you're able to interact. You sync with the blockchain, you can send and receive, you can make your own nodes, do voting systems, etc. There's also multiple wallets on phones, including the one that I usually have, which is Coinomi. And by the way, if you have a cryptocurrency you want to donate to us, let me know, and I will take my Coinomi app, give you the address, and you can send that too. So just ask in chat, just putting that out there. We pretty much accept anything that Coinomi has, but any of the big five, which I usually include as Bitcoin, Litecoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, not Ethereum Classic, Monero, Zcash, and I guess Dash, maybe. But yeah, those 6 you can send us. And of course, we also are still doing the Pincoin thing because I keep getting horribly delayed. But I digress. So let's talk about this. So so you might be familiar with software wallets, as they're called, which is the traditional thing where you have the wallet, whether it is a client that runs multiple cryptocurrencies and addresses and syncs to multiple blockchains, or ones that's just dedicated to something like just Pincoin or just Bitcoin or something like that. Whether it's on your desktop or on your phone, you probably have dealt with software for that. Now, the thing about these is that when you have them running, they constantly sync to the blockchain. And as we all know with IoT devices, or the Internet of Things, which is like linking like your coffee pots and your sex toys and your TV remotes, and thanks to Elon Musk, eventually your brains to the internet, things that aren't seen as traditional terminal computers. Because of that, how do I describe this? Basically, if something's always online, as we learned with Xbox One, if it's always online, that means hackers are going to be like, huh, Christmas? And we'll go and try to attack the thing. And the more popular that thing's, the more, it's like an equation, the more popular that thing is, and the more it's connected to online, the more likely you're going to get screwed. A classic example I want to bring up real quick is Apple. For years, and it was partly true, but for years, Mac fans, and we're going to get to this when we do our meeting on September 18th, will be all Apple products, but the cult of Mac normally advertised, hey, like, we never get viruses, we never get malware, we don't get phishing scams. And something that I've always had to bring up is, at the time too, Linux didn't really much either. And the reason for that is because Microsoft dominated the landscape. So if most of the computers are Microsoft Windows, guess what are all the malware and ransomware people are going to target, and they still target, which is Windows. Like, they know that at least over half the world's computers are Windows 10. So they're obviously going to make malware and stuff for Windows 10 and things that go around or completely crap on Windows Defender and stuff like that. And so I warned people who liked Apple products, as soon as Apple makes something, whether they upgrade Mac, like marketing-wise and platform-wise, or they make a new product that's popular, you're going to get those malware and viruses. All those horrible, like, I heart bleed, or Melissa virus, or I love you, or all of those crazy ones you might have remembered throughout history, including recent ones like Stuxnet, Spectre. Mac's going to get those too. Like, Apple's going to get them if they make a popular product, and of course they eventually did. They made the iOS, or the iPhone, and so because of that, Macs increased. So now there's a ridiculous amount of malware on not just Macs, but especially iOS devices. You get a foothold in the iOS market, you have compromised about roughly half to a little less than half of the entire world's mobile network systems. Like, that's how much this is in. And because the code base is very similar and has a lot of shared functions between Mac OS as it's known now and Apple TV OS and stuff like that, what probably works on the iOS will easily migrate to the rest of the ecosystem. So now you've taken a huge chunk of computing away. And that's what happens there. So, for example, thank you, Linux Pavatov. Linux Pavatov, thank you for following us. I don't know if you're on YouTube or Twitch, because I know the DLive ones are different. I have to work on that later, but thank you for following us. There's going to be more stuff coming up. I think there's... I'm trying to think. Yeah, no, it'll be kind of a dead week next week. We might do a special, and then there's going to be a Master of Unlocking, because again, I'm moving that next Sunday, and then a bunch of shows, and then our meetup, which will be all Apple themed. So if you like that, thanks for sticking around. But let's get back. I'm going off topic back into this. So obviously, like Bitcoin, it's huge. So all the Bitcoin clients out there that are software, they're getting attacked all the time. That's why there's now multiple different third-party Bitcoin clients. I mean, it's open source, so you can make your own, but the rise of all these alternate clients, besides Bitcoin Core, is because Bitcoin Core gets attacked all the time. Anything with Bitcoin associated with, anything that's where there's a word bit or coin in it or Satoshi is going to get hammered. The Ethereum network has a lot of applications and network backbones on it, so it gets attacked all the time. Now, the good thing is that these get patched and they get hardened, but that's a big attack vector. And we've seen multiple times in the past where, and we're going to talk about this in a future episode, where exchanges, this is why this is a later episode, where exchanges in particular have been horribly breached, and people's wallets, like manipulating Genesis blocks and something that's also called like the 51% attack, have completely eaten not only Bitcoin itself but other like altcoins and shitcoins out there. And so that's caused this panic of wanting a hardware wallet. And essentially what a hardware wallet is the kind of that base thing. It's the same software that you're running on your computer or your phone, but placed in an actual piece of hardware that usually attaches via USB, because almost everything has USB Type 2 and up on it. Maybe we'll start seeing wallets that have USB Type C connectors. That's probably kind of come up in a year or two if no one has made those yet, but I still digress. Ooh, I might have a use for this guy actually later, because we're going to do something else as a way later thing as an experiment. So that's what basically it is. And some of them are a bit more fancy, as you can see with some of the Trezor here. There's two different models. There's the Trezor 1 and the Trezor Model T. The Trezor 1 is like the general stuff. It has a password manager and two-factor authentication. And the Model T is the premium version of the Trezor 1. And Model T, I think of like the Ford cars. And some of the stuff that you might notice on here is that a lot of them have like little tiny LCD screens, so you can kind of see your code generation here, your wallet recovery, how much is in your account and stuff currently. And that's the thing. These are not, they don't have Bluetooth in them. These are offline. So when they're not connected to another computing device, no one should be able to go in or go out of your software wallet. Now, of course, that doesn't prevent people from affecting the chain itself. Once it syncs to the chain, if the chain somehow is compromised, you're still screwed. But in terms of your own funds, including your copy of the ledger, your parent listed funds, your account that you use to get on there, etc., all of these will be stored. And because it's not physically connected to the machine, it's not there. Hence the difference between hot and cold. Hot meaning it's connected to the internet. Cold storage means it's separate from the internet. So just keep that in mind. And so Trezor is one example. There's a lot of different wallets, but the two big ones, and this gives you an example of like the software that's on here. This one's for Bitcoin. You can set up multiple accounts and stuff like that, and it works exactly like the software, like the software you would have running on your desktop, which is how. Oh, and you can also do SSH login with the Trezor SSH agent. Which is, by the way, that's a little bit of a hint of how we're going to create our own, but we'll get into that later. This is kind of fascinating here. Let's see. You have to install Trezor Bridge, and then, you either install Trezor Bridge or you modify the UDEV rules, and you modify the local bin, run the Trezor agent. Yeah, and it's using NixOS. That's the actual operating system running off the stick. Basically, these are operating systems on a stick, and because they're not connected. That's actually, again, why when we get to it, you can take a USB stick and do some modifications software-wise, and you have your own hardware wallet. Now, the two big ones that are out there is you have Trezor, and you have the Ledger, commonly more known as the Ledger Nano, are probably the two most popular. I'm actually going to type that in, Ledger. Actually, I should be able to type in Nano, and we should be able to find it here. There's an entire of hardware wallets. Let's see. You have Trezor, you have KeepKey, Bitcoin credit stick, Cold Card. Okay, that looks kind of put together. This is like some James Bond stuff. That's kind of odd. But yeah, here it is. I mean, there's a bunch of others we can scroll down through. This one is basically like a smartphone that's converted into a cold storage wallet, which I'm sure you could do. I mean, I could totally see someone installing Bromite and then using hardware using the hardware switches to like basically take it permanently off the cell tower and off of Bluetooth, or have it like an actual switch on it. Maybe something like the Pine phone, where you have a hardware switch on it in order to turn that off or not. So it's either the Trezor or the Nano. The Ledger Nanos are the two most popular ones now. And this one doesn't exist now. Let's see if I can figure this out here. So let's kind of look what's in the hardware, because unfortunately I don't have them physically with me because they're a little bit out of my price range currently. But there's a wonderful blog that's done a teardown of the Trezor Model T, so that's the more advanced one, to kind of show you kind of what's inside here. So it actually has two. It has the Trezor Model T, and then the aluminum ASIC Vault, which I don't even know if it exists anymore. So that's kind of what they look like. And then those are those connected via USB. And sort of like just making sure the angles. So X-Acto knife time. We're going to cut this guy open here. So as you can see, it's basically a really, really more complicated version of a USB stick. It's a storage device. That's what this is. So let's see, both have this. So they do have USB Type-Cs, so the newer ones do. ARM chip implements USB 2.0 at 480 Mbps. The ASIC Vault uses 3.0, so it actually is better with theoretical speeds of 5 Gbps or gigabps. And of course, it's shaped like a bomb from Star Wars. It kind of looks like a mini. It looks like something you would put in Iron Man's chest, like that arc reactor core or whatever. But yeah, and when you take this down, you can kind of see here. Let's see. I can see the processing boards and where the memory is. That's where it slides in. That's the batteries to make sure that it's on to be used. Same thing with the Trezor here. Ooh, it seems like there's like that looks like a modified external storage unit. That's interesting. And then this is obviously the memory, and that's for like, I think the screen interface that's on it. Let's see. Yeah, and then there's like a very big flaw we're going to get into. So as you see here, okay, so this is the highlights. So it's USB Type-C connector. This is so the main chip is unsecure. So it's really relying on the software for its security. We're going to get that in a moment. There's internal SRAM and the flash. All the pins are accessible on it in terms of hardware. You have the JTAG ports, which involves the reprogramming. That's the main clock crystal to make sure that it's like all in sync and stuff. And I don't know what's going on up here. It's like, and then this is ridiculous. You have USB Type-C. Let's see, application DRAM 64. It's basically like literally a mini computer. This RISC-V internal flash memory chip. Thermal pad adhesive to glue the puck together. You can use as a urinal when it breaks. Supercapacitors. Let's see, MSRP, ultra low powerful, anti-tamper. Oh, so it has built-in anti-tamper. Huh. Very interesting. I have to maybe do a deeper dive on this thing. So basically, by preparing the two, that despite you probably have heard of like the Trezor Model T being absolutely amazing, but here's a competitor which I honestly didn't know of until now, and it really doesn't seem like it's like holding everything together here. So let's see, there's a multi-mesh layer, and that's the other end of the wallets, because that's where it does its display. Wow, that is so early 2000s. That looks like from like the Antitrust movie from 2003. Does anyone remember that movie with its fake Bill Gates and stuff? Like, wow, it's like an advanced stopwatch from 2003. Matrix code. So yeah, this is a unique teardown, and let's see the security here. So let's see, it's faster than Trezner, and it uses it's using SHA 512, so it's slower, but technically it has a higher encryption for SH2 type encryption, because SH3 is still like a working thing. Let's see. Yeah, and the other one has active tamper, and then there's also like the cost of what happens when you crack it. It's just a really nice teardown, because again, I don't have these in front of me. So remember how, let's go back in the article where it's like, you can tell it's relying on software because all the pins are exposed here, and even the J tags, they're not like solder plugged in, so they're able to be accessible. Well, yeah, there's a bunch of different attacks you can actually do, particularly on the Trezner. Ooh, that's a video I didn't see. So yeah, you can extract the seed from it. That's the main way. And basically what I'm going to show, because I'm actually going to show the other video first, is there's essentially a glitch using voltage that will be able to crack it wide open. Also, there's apparently a bug memory leak that basically reveals your private keys. So let's see, it was discovered, let's see. This is an older article, just to let you know. This was discovered, this month goes, this is 2017. So let's see, we're going to name it that. Shut down the device. Yep, and without knowing the pin, everything. 15 seconds, let's see. Oh, this is freaky. Yeah, and you can get direct access to those reprogrammable pins, so you'll be able to dump everything. Yeah. Let's see. And apparently it's also affected by temperatures. Huh. Oh, I see what they're doing. They're borking. Again, most of these wallet fails, yeah, they do have... That's why I want to let you know, because I don't want to scare you guys and be like, oh, I should never use like an actual hardware wallet or something. And let's see here. B-Sides Boston, it's going to be cool. Okay, I'll check that out. Let's see. Send me... Cool, I'll type that in later. I just want to get in through the rest of this. So, the thing about hardware wallets is, you know, a lot of them, if they're done correctly, they should have decent like software, especially when you plug it in the computer, to prevent you from hacking it. But remember, hacking means a lot of different things. So the main way the Trezner wallet in particular, and most hardware wallets get borked, is if someone has physical access to your device. So if you're like leaving it out on the table during a business thing, or you like leave your desk with that on then, and it's like not on your keychain or something, people can do crazy physical stuff, such as physically freezing the device in order to short the whole thing out. And I'm actually going to show a major break where that happens. So we're going to sit back here and watch this and enjoy it. It's really short. And we're going to see how this hardware hack works. So as you can see, what happened, which you probably noticed earlier, is that, as I said, if we go back to that original diagram here, all the pins are unsecure and the reprogrammable ports are exposed. So what they did was they just removed the main processor here for the SRAM, and once that was removed, they just basically connected it to a voltage board, and then ran a custom Pi script that just checks all the ports. And again, because at the hardware level all the ports itself are not secure, they were able to dump the wallet security passcode, and thus they can just put everything together like it's nothing, plug it in, type it in, and they get all of that there. I kind of skipped ahead here. So where is this? Because I know I have the I guess I didn't actually open the blog for some reason. But yeah, this is done by Kraken Security. So as I said, this attack relies on voltage glitching to extract the encrypted seed. It knows you have to know a lot of hardware hacking know-how, and and this is how you can mass glitch something that's that, like, if you want to put the parts together between the breadboard and stuff, you could probably put together for $75. And that when you crack the encrypted seed, which is by looking through one of the 1 through 9 pin digits, it's extremely trivial to brute force at a hardware level. So as I said here, do not allow anyone to have physical access to your wallet, and enable your passphrase, because if you have a decent passphrase, if you actually use KeyPass XC or whatever to generate a 32 character, 64 character, 128 character password to use, this hardware will do bupkis, because that Pi script will fail even if they have the physical access to it. But that's the thing, they're relying on the fact that what you're going to assume is that, oh, I bought the hardware wallet, so I put everything on, I just click yes on everything, put everything on it, and now this thing is like Fort Knox, when in reality all they had to do was just knock that chip off, connect to another board, run the custom Python script, and they get your password. So they're going to assume that you don't even know to do a decent passphrase and use the one for your luggage, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or that you're going to just not set one, because you figure, as long as people don't physically have it and plug it in, I don't have to encrypt my wallet and set a passphrase. So that's where things sadly go wrong here, as they showed with the SM32 boot parameters and glitch it out. And as we said earlier, apparently there's an even easier method where you can freeze the frickin' thing, and it'll basically be in a freeze state. It's literally a freeze state, and it will go through the same thing, and then you can do the pin flash dump, and bloop, all the stuff gets dumped out. And that's the code that they're using for it, to guess and dump out the codes. So that again was done by Kraken. So again, I'm not saying you should not consider or do a hardware wallet, but what I am saying is that just like in anything in security, nothing is a silver bullet. So I just want to let everyone know, which is why I partly do this show, of if you have a hardware wallet, you could spend hundreds, even thousands of dollars on one of these things. And there's actually another product that a lot of people use for offline crypto storage that we're going to cover in a future episode, because I actually want to order one of these. But this is not a silver bullet. Just paying your way out of the thing is not going to get you the best security. Knowing the limits, having multiple different security things, so hardware wallet, passcode, gapless, etc., all of that as a giant catch net, as well as best safety and security practices, such as using a password manager, making a long password key, enabling two-factor, and etc. Just simple things. That's what gets attackers. It's not, what's the point of having Fort Knox if you can just put a sombrero and a mustache and walk straight through? And because Sitterfield brought that up, I'm actually going to type in, I believe she asked for Zcash. So I'm actually going to type in our Zcash wallet here, which if anyone sends anything through Zcash, thank you, because we can put it for good use, for real. I'm working on so many cool things for future episodes of crypto barons, including I'm actually talking to one of our local manufacturers of cryptocurrency ATMs, and whether they bring it here to the apartment or I go out to where they are, obviously wearing a mask and social distancing, I kind of want to do an on-site event. I might pre-record a video about the different machines all around the area, and I want them to open the machine, both hardware-wise and software-wise, and show you all how a Bitcoin and cryptocurrency ATM machine works, and like what they do, and the physical security of it, and the digital network security of it, etc. So I just want to double check to make sure I wrote the wallet correctly here. FOD fucks. I love that part of the thing is fucks. On a. Okay, good. Alright, that should be our Zcash. And eventually what I'm going to actually have just for this show is a banner on the bottom that scrolls to all the different ones we're going to use eventually. And I don't know if you can see it on here, but that is the QR code. So if you have a phone and you're able to scan that, you can. And I'm also going to eventually have a thing where we can rotate these different QR codes out on the stream, so you can send us stuff. But yeah. Oh, yeah. Please hold. Actually, let me make this super big. I get to do my best skill and make myself bigger. So unfortunately, you guys can't see the chat right now. But there we go. I'm like Vanna White here. I'm gonna do this for one more minute. Send us Zcash. Just to give you guys a little bit of a preview, and by the way, if you like what I'm talking about in Crypto Barons, and you also want to see what our future meetings are like, and some of the other shows like Hack Alt and Commander, which is a lot of like retro hacking stuff, or Archfile Linux Perspective, where we look at Arch Linux, or one of my favorites, it's my other show, Master of Unlocking, where I teach about lockpicking and stuff. What you can do, awesome. You can hit that follow, like, share, subscribe, and when we see those, we shout them out on air, because now we're able to do it on not only Twitch TV, but also YouTube and DLive. And I will quickly say, because I'm going to repeat this at the end of the episode, we will be covering Zcash at the end of September. I can spoil it and say that the second episode for Crypto Barons, which, if I look at our schedule, should be the 26th of September. Yeah, it's the 26th of September. We're going to be covering cryptocurrencies that have built-in security measures, why and how Bitcoin doesn't have those measures in them built in. These other cryptocurrencies like Zcash, what are their measures, how some of them have been compromised in the past, how they've been patched up. And that's going to lead into a fun October, where the following episode in October, I'm having 2 Halloween-themed Crypto Baron episodes. And so now that you would have known in September about cryptocurrencies on the ClearNet and the type of security, we're going to have a special episode in October called It Came from the Dark Web, about not only how cryptocurrency is being used on the Tor network and I2P and other dark nets and deep webs, but also cryptocurrencies that are specifically designed to be piped and fed through the dark web or deep web. And actually, you know what? The thing I was originally going to try to do when I installed that VM earlier, I'm going to actually save that for that episode, because I'm going to have to load up that VM anyhow. So yeah, I'll do that then. But I will bring up something about this when we talk about making the USB wallets. But yes, so just as a quick review, there are multiple hardware wallets that you can own. The 2 most common ones are Trezor and Ledger Nano. And again, because we've been picking a lot on Trezor, and you can see that you can take like you can put it in the freezer, or use like not nitroglycerin, liquid nitrogen to freeze it, or you can literally hack the board off and run a simple Pi brute forcer and it will open. Just to not be lonely, let's look at the most second popular ledger from one of my favorite YouTube channels, Live Overflow. I would love to have him on guest at DEFCON 201 one day. I know he's really busy, and he's going to go over his hack for footing around and getting into a Ledger Nano S, which is the second most popular cryptocurrency cold storage wallet. So let's look to hear what he has to say.
The Ledger Nano S is a cryptocurrency hardware wallet based on a secure element for storing cryptocurrencies, embedding a screen to check and secure digital payments. And also they have these information sheets where they proudly write, "Did you notice there is no anti-tampering sticker on this box? A cryptographic mechanism checks the integrity of your Ledger's device's internal software each time it is powered on." But, hey, stop. What are you doing? The Ledger Nano S is a small portable gaming system. Currently there's only one game, Snake, but we have seen some promising tech demos. Just kidding, but just to answer your most pressing question first, I don't want you to panic. If you use a Ledger and you are just a non-technical person, it's not an attack where anybody can directly read out your private key. Maybe you shouldn't plug in your Ledger into an untrusted computer or leave it laying around, but even then it's not like a full critical private key compromise. So don't worry. But reality is complex and there are situations where your cryptocurrencies might not be perfectly safe. And what I will show you in this video, which Ledger says is not a vulnerability, might have some impact for you or not. The real answer is of course a lot more complicated. Please define what a vulnerability is. You will see there are different ways to look at it. But in my personal opinion, I think this is very much a vulnerability. There's certainly a lot to unpack, and in this video I just want to explain on a higher level how this non-vulnerability works. But I will make a series with more videos where we discuss threat models and go deep into the hardware, and I show you on a very technical level how to analyze, research and reverse engineer the hardware and software and how to set up a whole testing environment. But before you think highly of me, I didn't do anything. Don't give me any credit. These videos are based on research done by my friend Thomas Roth, who discovered this in the first place. He contacted me if I would be up for making a video about it and then helped me a lot by answering questions and helping me with the setup. So if you are interested in his research and professional work, make sure to look him up. And if you are interested in these upcoming videos, make sure to follow this channel. So, the non-vulnerability description states, it was found that the Ledger Nano S bootloader can be tricked into flashing and executing untrusted firmware. The bootloader is used to update the firmware of the non-secure processor in the Ledger Nano S and has full control over the display, USB and the buttons. So when you put the device into the bootloader mode, you can communicate with the Ledger from your computer using APDU commands. This is a protocol typically used by smart cards, so nothing special. But just as a little example, here you see the Ledger Manager software on my computer, and with the Chrome developer tools we can observe APDU commands being logged to the console, which is sent to the device and received from the device. Writing software into the flash of a chip typically involves using some special hardware to write the code into flash.
Stop spending hours every day looking at charts and graphs, having no idea where to invest your money. I've done that before.
But that is not great when you want to be able to update software later when the product is already shipped.
That's why I try to rip these videos, but I didn't have much
software
time,
on a
unfortunately.
microcontroller is split in two stages, the bootloader and the main program of firmware. And the bootloader is a small piece of code that can help you with updates. It might also help initializing or configuring some features of the chip when the device is powered on, but in our case we are just interested about the update process. If you just power on the device, the bootloader will do some stuff and eventually jump to the main firmware code. But if you hold down the button when powering it on, the bootloader will see that the button is pressed and instead stay in bootloader code. And now the bootloader is executing a piece of code where it can communicate with the computer and receive APDU commands via USB. Some of these commands can be used to update the firmware, which basically means writing new code into flash memory. And that process is pretty simple. An updater program on your computer, like the Ledger Manager, or malware, can use APDU commands. First select the memory segment on the chip, then send some data and write that to the flash. And so the bootloader has code to just simply write new code into flash. And when you are done, you just tell the bootloader via an APDU command to please now boot that code, which simply means here please execute that. And from here on out, the device runs the new firmware. Now, you see, a person with physical access or a malware on your computer could write malicious code and push that onto the device, right? Just put it into bootloader mode and send the APDO commands to write the evil firmware. But not so fast. Ledger tries to prevent that. The bootloader implements a boot protection. When powered on, the bootloader will check if the constant value foodbabe is stored at the address hex 8003000. Only if that value is present, it will execute your code. If not, the bootloader simply doesn't do anything. So in the bootloader code, where the APDU commands for writing the new firmware is handled, it will first erase the old foodbabe value. If you would restart the device, the constant would be missing and then doesn't execute it. Now, maybe you wonder why you can't just write foodbabe to that address. The bootloader code also has a check to make sure you don't just send an APDU command to write foodbabe at that position. In fact, it protects the whole range from hex 8000 to hex 8003000, which means you can also not overwrite the bootloader's own code, which is stored in that area. So far so good. You send the APDU commands to write your malicious code, the foodbabe value is removed, and when you try to restart the device, the bootloader will refuse to jump to it. Darn. Now, if you are Ledger and you have a real update firmware, then the firmware will come with some kind of signature, and when you are done writing your firmware, the bootloader can verify that your new firmware is genuine firmware from Ledger, and then it will write the foodbabe value at the magic position. And the firmware is bootable again. But we are not Ledger. So what can we do? Now we come to the awesome bug. Have a look at the memory map here in the official STM32 manual. From 800 to 8008000, the flash memory is accessible or mapped. And in our case, from 800 to 8003000, we have the bootloader area, and at 8003000, we have the foodbabe value. And with APDU commands, you cannot write to this area. But look down here. Depending on the boot configuration, you might have SRAM, system memory, or flash mapped from 0000 to 00800. And guess what the ledger has mapped down here? This means in code, when you are writing to address 0003456, it is exactly the same as writing to 8003456. Both these virtual memory areas map to the same physical flash memory. This means we can bypass the check of not being able to write to the bootloader area, and we can write the foodbabe value to 0003000. This is then written to the real flash, and when the bootloader checks if at address 8003000 is the magic foodbabe value, it will find it and happily jump to the code. Boom, you have your own code running. What does this mean now? Let's look at a generic typical software wallet first. If your computer had a malware, it could compromise your wallet to send bitcoins to an evil address. But with a ledger, it has to ask the ledger to sign the transaction. So even if malware could fake what is displayed on the screen of your laptop and fool you into thinking you send it to a trusted address, with the ledger it would show you that you are about to send bitcoins to a different address. But this display is controlled by the untrusted chip, and we have just introduced an issue that would allow a malware on your computer to write malicious code onto the ledger. So theoretically, maybe you might be able to write code that also fakes the address that is displayed on the ledger and trick you into accepting it. Oh wait, the buttons are also connected to the untrusted chip, so maybe you can just accept the transaction without the user even having to consent to it. Just do it without the requirement of the button. The untrusted chip does all that. But I use the word maybe because it might not be that simple. And maybe it might not be possible at all. At least that is Ledger's position. But I'm skeptical. It feels all like it's standing on shaking ground, and maybe it's not straightforward, but it feels iffy. And I know, POC or GTFO, and I don't have a proof of concept, shame on me. But let's go back what Salem Rashid in March 2018 has criticized about the dual chip design. There he writes, the Nano S has a second non-secure microcontroller which acts as a proxy for the secure element. This processor drives the display, buttons, and USB interface. It interfaces with the secure element, which stores the actual private keys. And he calls that inherently an architectural vulnerability. The base hardware design of the ledger is already flawed. So why is Salem saying that, and why do I believe he's right, and why do I think this food babe issue is a problem? Let's start with the secure element. In Ledger's own official development documentation, they write, it is incredibly unlikely for the device's private key to be compromised because the secure element is designed to be a stronghold against such physical attacks. It is theoretically possible to extract the private key, but only with great expense and time, so only an organization such as the NSA could do it. Which is pretty honest. Details about how the secure element protects against advanced attacks are not known, and hardware attacks can be crazy, like side channel attacks, which we have shown before on this channel, or using acid to open up the package, probing it with microscopic tiny wires, or using equipment like electronic microscopes and focused ion beams to extract single bits. It's crazy. That's why there is a layer of obscurity and secrecy, not by Ledger, but by ST Microelectronics that sells this chip. Without becoming a big customer and signing non-disclosure agreements, you won't get any details. But that's necessary because with enough research, somebody like the NSA or some other lab might be able to extract the private key after all. But I'd say for most people, and I count myself to most people, the private key is really secure in the secure element. If you trust Ledger to never make a backdoor firmware for it. But the main design issue that is criticized here is that the MCU, the non-secure chip, acts as a proxy. This chip is essentially a man in the middle. This chip has access to the buttons, controls the
Okay, so it turns out not all laptops are created equal, which is why it's switching
screen and communicates with your laptop via USB. And if you have
the final streaming computer, I'm going to get rid of those once and for all.
rubber ducky out of the ledger. For example, when somebody plugs it in, it will send keystrokes to the host computer and do something bad. You know, I'm not super excited about rubber duckies. I don't think that's such a scary attack, but if it's for you, well, the ledger could be turned into one. The other thing is about the non-trusted chip acting as a proxy is something you know from using the internet. You know how dangerous man in the middle can be. You have no clue who sits between you and Google. That's why we use crypto like SSL to create a trusted end-to-end connection that even if somebody sits in the middle, just eavesdropping or capable of manipulating traffic, cannot steal your secrets. And this is actually what the ledger does. In the developer documents, you find a big section about the secured channel, also showing you in detail how the protocol works. And on top of that, the secure element apparently uses various techniques trying to verify that the untrusted chip is running genuine firmware and otherwise refuses to work. So the fact that we can run our own code on here might not mean you can actually do much with it.
Thank
like
you,
doing
Phoenix
Wi-Fi
Family,
running
for
for
rating
everybody
us. Thank you
just
so
use
much.
VPN or SSL. And that is why Ledger says this is not a vulnerability. And I at least can understand why they are saying that.
Hello, Con.
They clearly tried to design the protocol in a way that this chip doesn't have to be trusted. But the fact is still, this is not a secure chip. It proxies messages between the PC and the secure element, and yeah, I'm pretty confident that channel is cryptographically secure and malicious code maybe couldn't really interfere with it, but the chip is still responsible for showing critical information about cryptographic operations and asking via button presses for consent from the user, which both malicious code can take over. It's not the secure element that displays or responds to button clicks, and even though the secure element tries to verify the firmware running on the non-trusted chip, it doesn't magically make that chip a secure chip. The secure element still relies on information provided by the trusted chip, and they are kind of relying on the fact that the untrusted chip is limited in memory and speed. So it's very difficult to write all that code to spoof responses, basically emulating a genuine firmware to fool the secure element. But I think it's just very difficult and not a perfect protection. And thus I'm confident that smarter people than me can come up with a very creative way to pull it off. But I admit, there are many challenges and it requires a lot of more time, reverse engineering and researching. So maybe the bar is high enough to make this not economically feasible for a criminal or a researcher. It certainly is high enough that I don't think I can do it, but I'm also just a wannabe hacker. But Thomas, he had a very clever idea and created a proof of concept. He created a firmware which is different from the original one, as you can see, and that's clearly not trusted. Yet, this firmware will run once and then replaces itself with the genuine firmware, so future checks if it's genuine will succeed. So while it's not a full attack, it's a first proof of concept into the direction of running some malicious code on there and still have it succeed when tested the next time for being genuine firmware. I hope that was a good introduction and overview. So if you want to learn more about hardware security and how to do research on the ledger or any other kind of embedded hardware, then stay tuned for more videos.
So yeah, I love Live Overflow. Again, I would love to have him on, I guess, for future DEFCON 201 stuff. And thank you for the person that rated us and followed us. Thank you during that. Live Overflow, if you go to his YouTube channel, and I'll actually copy and paste that in the chat, he has an entire video series where he literally, physically, and through its code base, takes apart the... there we go. Takes apart that nano ledger that he has, and it's just absolutely it's absolutely amazing. And I hope that cleared up some things. If you guys can't hear me, let me know, because I realized there was a setting that was on that's not supposed to be on, so I just turned it off. If I'm muted somehow, just let me know in chat. Speaking of which, let's see where we're at in this whole scenario here. So here's what's going to happen. Now I've been showing videos, I've been talking about, the chip and stuff like that, and about these hardware wallets. And I brought up earlier, which was what our next segment's going to be for about an hour, of you don't have to spend money to make a cold storage hardware. I mean, you have to spend some money, but you don't have to spend the like 80 plus, 120, couple $100 for these pieces of hardware that could be as easily hacked as the alternative I'm going to display. All you need is a USB stick, and you should be able to be good to go. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Now, obviously, I'm not going to, which I'll reiterate, I'm not going to load USBs on here because that will kill the stream. But we do have a couple of VMs set up, and I'm going to take a tour of some of the operating systems you could use as well. I'm going to talk about some of the hardware stuff that you can possibly do. However, even though I have it all set up, I'm low on water. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take like a 3 to 5 minute break. I think it's going to be like 3 to 5 minutes, maybe a little bit more, but I'm going to play some cool music. Everyone just chill out. If you want to follow, like, and subscribe, you want to do that now during that break, more than welcome to on Twitch, DLive, or YouTube, and I will see them. And if I do see them while I'm on the break, I'll shout out. But I'm going to go get some water. I'm going to try to see if I can boot something else on the other laptop, which I'll be able to show with the camera. And I'm going to show you bits of how you can, just using a USB stick, if you're on Windows, which I actually recommend for this, a program called Rufus, and some ingenuity with the operating systems and its various functions, and we're going to create cold storage wallets. So enjoy the music, give me a couple of minutes, and I will be right back, and we'll get on with the cool stuff that hopefully won't fail. So see you in a bit. And welcome back to Crypto Barons, a show where we talk and discuss various blockchain technologies as technologies as opposed to different markets and snake oil stuff. Although we like to cover the snake oil stuff just in case, it's a little hokey. For those who are just tuning in now, my name's Sidepocket. I'm one of the co-founders of DEFCON 201. We're a computer hacker group that meets in New Jersey, particularly Jersey City, New Jersey, which is located in Hudson County. We meet the third Friday of every month. Our next meetup will be on September 18th. It'll be entirely Apple, Mac, iOS themed. And if you want to know more about us, you can, that side, you can go to our website on the lower left-hand corner at www.defcon201.org. That's DEFCON201.org. In this show, Crypto Barons, as I said, we like looking at blockchain and cryptocurrencies. We do a little bit of some of the markets in the communities, but we mainly are focusing on the technology behind it, the code that it's using, the networks, what makes it tick. And what we've been covering tonight are hardware wallets. And as I said before, there's a lot of fancy features on these, but essentially what these are just like beefy versions of USB sticks. And that's something I'm going to show you. Is you don't have to, I don't even know how much any of this stuff costs. Like let's actually go back to Trezor and try to go like to their website or something and look up how much these things cost. So let's actually go for like the lower end model that just did it. All right, 55, not bad. It's still, you can get a USB stick for like $10. And how much is the deluxe one? $169.99. The one that we showed that you can just run a Python code and like put some nitroglycerin, not nitro. Why do I say nitroglycerin? Liquid nitrogen on it to freeze it, and then run a Python code. 100 setback area, $170, not including tax. And what did it say in euros? It looked like, I'm always used to in the United States, it's something's always cost like $11 billion in the United States, and then it costs like 12 euros because we don't have an economy. But yeah, as we all know, USB sticks are typically cheaper than $55, as it says for the Trezor one, and you can take one and do some modifications with it, and provided that my roommates don't groan as I start explaining this stuff, I'm going to kind of show you how. Now, as I said, what you're going to first look for is a quality USB stick. So even though I'm using this for something later, I got these from Micro Center for like $2 or $3. They're good if you want to just store something or you want to test things on, but if you want reliability, don't get the Micro Center ones. Simply, or basically, you get what you pay for to some degree with USB sticks. So if it's only like $2 or $3, expect that sort of shyness and quality, because the Micro Center sticks, the reason why they're so cheap is because they are refurbished used USB sticks. They take other USB sticks, wipe them out, put them in a different case, slap their logo on them, and sell them. So even though some of these you're going to see are Micro Center, I don't recommend them if you're actually dead serious about this. This is one that GI Jack gave me. It's a Lexar 16 gig. I think it comes in a pack, and you can get like 5 of these for like $20, maybe $40, depending on how the economy is. But like, and you have extra USB sticks, but if you get a solid one by like a known manufacturer, you can easily get something for under $55, unlike what the trends there people tell you. The other thing, and I actually forgot to type this, so I'm actually going to use the webpage that didn't work, is the next thing that you might want to invest in is something called a USB condom. This is something you're going to want to keep over your... Ooh, there's going to be a version 3 that you want to keep on your device at all times as a connector. And you can even assemble them yourself. And what a USB condom basically is it's kind of exactly what it sounds. It can transmit power, but it doesn't transmit data. Meaning you will have to take the USB condom off to insert it in the computer for you to actually access the data on the USB stick. And I can say this right here, that safe sex, but now is that is that a lot of people don't even know they exist, even a lot of people in computing. So I can imagine a scenario where they literally are trying to plug in these USB sticks and wondering why it doesn't boot and doesn't load. And that's because there's a USB condom on it. So just like in real life, you probably want to slip a condom on it. But the big thing we're going to focus on, well, it's two parts. The later part is we're going to focus on the actual wallet itself. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the operating systems that you can put on a stick. And again, I like all you lurkers out there. That tells me you guys are watching, sitting there watching, and it's been a long day. Like, it literally has. Like, I did a lot today, but like good stuff. But no, I'm just really tired. But I'm doing all this for you. Plus, I just love talking about this stuff for real. So, you know, if you want to lurk as one of my roommates dies in the background, you can totally lurk and learn from this stuff. But if what I'm saying, if you're confused about a subject, if I'm going too fast, if you want to add a piece of information that you didn't think I covered, you can't hear me, my voice is too soft, my voice is too loud, I'm too close to the camera, I'm way too far away from the camera, let me know in chat. And of course, if you like the content that you see, you can hit that bell, hit like, share, subscribe on Twitch, DLive, or YouTube, which we're currently on. And you can also view YouTube through Tor via any of the .onion instances of nvidia.us. So hi, all the people watching out there on Tor. You are super safe and you get no ads, unlike me currently, because I'm an idiot. But yeah, you can subscribe. And now, because of the way I set it up, despite me wanting to adjust some sound effects on the other two, if you follow on DLive, YouTube, or Twitch, I will see when you follow, or if you send us some cash in the future or whatever, or subscribe to us, and we'll shout you out. So thank you. So let's see. Came to learn, stayed for the hair. I came for the hair, and I'm staying to learn, because I'm actually growing out this hair for a specific reason. And the thing is, these headphones squish my hair down. If I pull a strand of it out, that's actually, like, think of how long this is, and then do like a circumference, and that's actually, like, my fro would be way bigger than any resolution I set on this camera. I have like an 8K afro. And I'm growing it out for a specific reason that will hopefully make sense. Maybe late October, maybe later this year. I'm trying to do like a costume getup. Maybe I'll put it on camera or send pictures out on our Instagram, which you can find us on Instagram at DEFCON201 or Twitter at DEFCON201NJ. It's really neat. But let's get into like the operating systems. So there are so many different things you can do. And also, I just want to let you guys know to bear with me when it comes to the operating systems, because, as I said, I have a bunch of VMs spun up, and I have to put in OBS when they load. Like, if I just do the virtual machine itself, you will never see the actual thing running, so I have to wait till it loads, then add the element, then you'll see it, and I'll be able to interact. So we're going to go on. Now, I'm going to start off with this topic and then loop back around to it. But one of the base things you can do that's actually shockingly pretty much secure is you can use Ubuntu. Like, if you use stock Ubuntu, because what we're going to do with the cold storage wallet is, even though I am going to recommend a bunch of operating systems to use, the goal here is you're going to design the wallet in such a way that basically, like, if you truly want to do cold storage, you can literally use stock Ubuntu, set up the wallet, scrap everything, and then use essentially a paper wallet, what you wrote down, to then do your transactions. And if you keep the USB wallet, you can occasionally plug it in to get some updates and stuff, but after that, you can do everything remotely. So it's basically, you kind of set up this Ubuntu. You could do it in a VM, you could do it on a USB stick, and then kill the whole thing, and then do that. You can keep it around and basically have it so at any point you can plug it in, make it temporarily hot, and take it offline like a traditional cold storage wallet. But a true cold storage wallet is essentially created just to get certain data for your wallet and then destroy the whole thing. So pretty much stock Ubuntu would actually work, stock Ubuntu or Debian. If you are going to keep the wallet, and then I want to loop around back to something that I completely forgot about. I recommend, and this is the part where people might cringe in the house, that a lot of times you guys don't realize that when you're loading Linux operating system, especially from a stick, the way it interacts with your device is the judge of the hypervisor. The hypervisor is like a more competent version of Donald Trump, which is not saying much. It basically sits there and is like, I'm the king of everything and you guys suck ass and you have to do everything that I say, and that's what your machine does. It's exactly why when I recommend for going to DEFCON or another hacker convention, which is, you're going to see an element of this in what I'm going to talk about, I tell people to containerize their operating system that they're going to use their burner on, because if someone can break the hypervisor on your machine, that person is a super elite hacker in my book, and no one has any snowball chance of hell against that person. Like the majority of hackers and pen testers will literally try to do that, fight with the hypervisor for 5 seconds, and then just be like, F it, and leave you alone. So that's why I'm focusing on the hypervisor. If you do Ubuntu, Debian, or there's actually a version of Alpine Linux that I'll show in a second that has this pre-built in. Once you install Ubuntu or Debian, you should probably install the... did I actually have the website open for this? For some reason, I don't think I did. Here it is, the Zen hypervisor, which is... you probably more familiar, probably the most popular use of the Zen hypervisor is in an operating system that's based on Fedora Linux called Cubes OS, and basically it is the containerizer hypervisor. This hypervisor will basically automatically virtualize, either automatically or by your choosing, different aspects of your operating system, whether it's your storage memory, individual applications, etc. So if you want to keep the USB stick and occasionally make it hot to do updates or transactions, replacing our hypervisor with the Zen hypervisor would probably be a good idea. And we're going to try to do that in a bit. But I just wanted to bring that up. And of course, if you're crazy and you want to use an already hardened system called Alpine Linux, which, warning, it will show up, it's like Arch Linux, it'll show up entirely as code, or the terminal, I should say, for the more experienced users. You will have to install XFCE, or as I call it, Feces, separately, because it's great light when it UI system in order to actually interact with it with UI point and click. So if you're willing to do Alpine Linux, install XFCE, which I highly recommend, and you can get the whole thing built in automatically with Zen. Install XFCE and you're good to go. And then you have to put the wallet on it and you'll be pretty good. So even with base stuff like Ubuntu Debian or a more secure base operating variant like Alpine, I recommend putting the Zen hypervisor. Now I want to loop back to something that I unfortunately forgot about it until I went in. Now, as I said, you can basically get, for example, these Lexars where you get 5 or 8 of them for $20, and that should do good as long as you have a main manufacturer that's not called a Micro Center. However, if you're going to keep the USB and not do the build destroy, but a build and use the way a Trenzer wallet is, you might want to invest into a USB stick that actually has security on it, especially if instead of booting it directly through the computer itself on its boot mode, if you want to load it as a VM off of your stick, I highly recommend this, because I think it might happen directly when it boot loads, similar to an encrypted persistence. But regardless, what these do is you actually have to have a passcode in order to enter these in. Now, there are some that have a physical buttons on it to enter in, but the problem with those is that you pretty much need to actually be running in the computer system. I believe with these, it will show up either on boot or show up as soon as you put the stick in if you're on a normal desktop environment. So my recommendation, even though they're kind of pricey, I just slapped Trenzer for this, but if you really want to go full out and you don't trust Trenzer's or Ledger Nano's lack of security, I would recommend either the Iron Key encrypted USB flash drives. What was I going to say? They use FIPS, level 3 certified with 256 AES hardware-based encryption, so it's not 512, but it's still up there. But the particular thing is they use an XST mode, which adds a bunch of extra hashes and procedures that base 256 AES encryption normally doesn't do. And they're also physically robust, so they're hard to physically break. And I will say, the DS300 series is more like a regular stick, so while it is durable, it's still made of plastic. Its bigger sister, the Iron Key S1000, is actually made entirely out of metal, and this thing will take a beating. Physically as well as digitally, and it also uses 3.0 USB. So if you are willing to spend the money and you get to choose your size, honestly, I think 16 to 32 gigabytes, probably leaning to 32, maybe 64. If you're using Bitcoin, probably go for 64 to 128, but for other coins, 32 to 64, just to give yourself some space, because 16, once the blockchain reaches like an okay size for an altcoin, it's going to be cramped in there and you might not be able to update it. So, but choose your size of what you feel like. You can choose between like the two models here, and you can see all the stuff here. And they're a bit expensive. I think they cost anywhere between like $60 to like $120. But if you're looking for like prime USB sticks, they're worth it. If not, just get a main lane brand one like a Lexar one. Lexar doesn't sponsor us. It's just the one that I have here. There's a Lexar one. I think there's this one that's made by SanDisk. Just get one with a brand name that's like 32 gigs probably, and you're pretty much good to go. So looping around that, like I said, you can use basically a hardened Ubuntu or base Debian in order to have an operating system on your stick. The thing I wasn't able to load, and we're going to cover this again when late September when we talk about cryptocurrency, in October when we talk about came from the dark web, is an operating system called Tails OS. Let me scroll over to it. Let me go back out to the main page. That's my fan kicking him. So, Tails is a portable operating system. It's one of the projects from the Tor project people. Basically, it's a hardened Debian. I think it's Debian, hardened Debian kernel that is shrunk down, hardened, and its main thing is that pipes every single thing over the Tor network. And for those of you who don't know, and let's see if I can actually bring this up as a browser element. Let's see here. So I didn't think about this part because I am adult. Because I have Tor browser, but I think I have to add it as a separate browsing element. So for those who do not know, Tor, which I can actually turn torproject.org, I believe is their website. Yep, is where we have Onionland. It's one of the oldest and one of the first. It's not the first dark net or dark web or deep web, but it's the most popular, well-known OG of the networks. If you ever see a website that's listed as .onion, that is the Tor network. And even if you're not surfing Onion websites, it's just a great resource. And I'm going to add this as another Windows capture. Yep. And now it's blocked out everything, so let me shrink it. Yeah, put that on there. Move this, oh, come on. Move this down. Turn off the browser. And let me edit this to make sure we're on the right thing here. There we go. Let's increase the size just like she likes it. Boop. And you can see I have made my own little like custom banner here. But yeah, what's really neat about the Tor browser is basically there's Onion over here, and this says that's connected, and basically the Tor browser runs things through 3 different nodes. We're going to cover this in October, but I thought I would show you you blocks and hashes this really quick. But let's see. I know there's the check. Let's see. Let's do the check Tor browser. And as you can see, I also modified it so it actually goes to the DuckDuckGo Onion. Tor network is a little bit slower because what it does is it primarily sends you through 3 nodes. So it sends you through one node, and that node passes off to another node, and they do it blind so that the previous node doesn't know what the other node has. It just knows that the data it's received. That's probably an error. Yep, and it says congratulations, I'm using Tor. And what that allows me to do is basically I can go up at any time, and when I'm on and I can change my Tor circuit. I can create a new circuit. So see, it went from Germany to Germany, back to the United States, and back to me. And so anyone trying to trace through this, they see a completely different IP from the United States. We don't see the other two from Germany. And because it's blind guarded, you have to get all the nodes, although there's a way to do what's called I think it's third or last Tor node poisoning that can compromise most of this, but the general concept is that you would either have to poison the last node, the first node, the last node, or all the nodes in order to get that information. And again, at any time I can just say new circuit, and now it route me through a completely new thing, and I can do that an umpteen amount of times. And so you can kind of see, and we're going to cover this in October, that this is a very, very powerful tool to be used for cryptocurrencies. And provided that this URL works, we do have a landing page. I'm going to attempt to load it. I'm going to get back into what I'm saying. And in fact, while I do that, I'm going to start booting this. But basically, that's I'm actually going to end this here. But that's what the Tor browser is. And we're going to turn back on the normal browser. Ta-da! And that. There we go. So that's what Tails does. Is the entire, it's not just a browser window, it's not just a modified version of Firefox. Tails pipes all the internet through the Tor network. And I'm going to bring the camera around, and you're going to see on boot what I mean, and why, even if you're a beginner, this would be a great thing to use. That's my face way too close. So yeah, this is just a normal laptop here. Let's get back to this. And so you see it's a normal giant black laptop. That's you guys back there. I have to get used to saying this. You blocks and hashes back there. That's the laptop we stream on. This is just a normal utility laptop. And that crappy Micro Center stick has Tails on it, which is why I marked it with a little piece of tape. So I just want to make sure that's in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn on this machine. And the thing about turning on this machine is I'm going to have to press another button to get to the boot loading device on the machine. So I'm going to turn this on. And it's going to say, like, ThinkPad. And then, which it shows really quick, is that it's going to say I have to press enter. You hear that beep? That's it into the boot load. So now I hit F12 in order to now select. And you can see now this thing's blinking, which means it reads. So... And we're going to cover this again in October, and I'll actually have it running through the VM properly that time. But what I'm going to do is that's a USB 2.0. We're going to click on that, and then while this loads, because Tails is notorious for being slow, because the operating system itself is kind of bloated, and it's also piping everything through the Tor network. But I'm going to move myself back to the main area here and expand, so that you guys can see all the stuff that's going on. So it's going to take a while. And when we get into Tails, I'm going to show you what's really cool. So another thing about Tails, and we'll cover this in October, but it's really simple to install. Even if you have no experience of real experience with computers, you've never done terminal or program, they've made an amazing step-by-step process, including knowing that if you're installing stuff that you're probably doing it on the same computer, you are burning the program to the stick to, which we'll cover also in October. So what will happen is when that happens, it'll give you a QR code and a URL, and if you scan the QR code on the phone, it will tell you the instructions on how to do this, all on there. So I'm going to be extra secure here. Tails is very basic here. And we're going to come up with the password for that. So one of the cool things is that can remember stuff that you have installed. So I'm going to actually have the camera point back at you guys and go to infinity and put in, if I remember correctly, the password for the persistent storage here. And again, if I'm going too fast, or if you blocks and hashes don't know anything that I'm saying, or if I'm going too fast or whatever, please let me know. Ah, that's the wrong passphrase, so it must be this one. Yeah, because I know eventually I have to redo this entire stick. So this one should work. It's going to take a bit because it's accessing the POPs thing. And the cool thing about the persistent storage is, unlike most Linux distributions, it will actually ask you if you want persistent storage, aka for it to remember all the stuff that you do, what you would want to do for the most part if you were going to make a cold storage or a semi-cold storage wallet. And it will figure out the rest of the stick for you without you having to go through the terminal or use special stuff in Rufus or everything. So it's pretty neat. I'm not going to put a overall passcode for this, so I'm just going to start Tails. But I just wanted to unlock the persistence. That blinking there means it's loading everything directly from the USB stick. And what's also really cool is, again, this is designed for journalists. So if you have your crypto stuff in here, and you have to leave really quick, or you feel like you're being threatened or in an insecure area, you can literally at any time, provided transactions went through and stuff, to just grab the stick and pull it out, and it will just boot back into whatever your default operating system is on this laptop. You can even put this in other people's laptops and it will do that. Although I recommend getting people's permission in order to do that. Just don't start plugging it in everywhere. That's what he said. So yeah, it's doing the additional storage. It's right now not connected to the internet, so that's actually the first thing we're going to do here. Let's see. It's one of these things. Or did it connect? Ah, yep, it just figured it out and connect. And Tor is now ready. We can actually open the onion circuits and check that. So yeah, it can send me through all these different relays, and it's going to keep adding more. But what's really neat is that with the newer version of Tails, when you install it, let's see if I can find this here. I think it comes built in here, if I remember correctly. If not, I did this for nothing. Oh, there's an upgrade. I haven't done this in a while, so I actually got slapped with an upgrade. But let me show you what I mean here, because it should be built in here. If not, we can install it in here, and that's not too much of a problem. There we go. So if you go to internet, built in is an Electrum Bitcoin wallet. And it's very tricky, but you can add other wallets to this. But just note that Tails by default comes with the Electron Bitcoin wallet. So if you have Bitcoin and you're like, oh, I want to make a more secure stick, that's going to be my main wallet, so that way it's not online all the time. All you have to do is install Tails. I recommend on a 3.0 device that is between 16 to 32 gig, leaning towards 32 gig if you want persistence. Go through the step-by-step process of making the password for the persistence and everything. It's really easy. We'll show this stuff off in October, and it's going to take a million years because one, it's running off of a USB 2.0 stick, and also Tails itself is a little bloated and slow, but when it eventually happens, and I might come back to this at the end, there is an actual Bitcoin wallet built in via Electrum, and we're actually going to go back to Electrum later. Cords everywhere. Whoop, drop that stick. Whoop, everything's falling. Everything is falling. Now when I turn the camera around, the Electrum wallet finally loads, because, my life. But yeah, if I can try to turn this around, see, it has a built-in Electrum wallet right into Tails. So without doing anything, if you have Bitcoin and your main security concern is Bitcoin, you can just simply do Tails. It's really easy. Journalists use it all the time, and that's one way to do the USB storage wallet. And we're going to come back to that now. If you want something a little bit more, and I'm going to shrink myself for this boot. And move myself over because we're gonna be now flipping flack. But the flipping flack, I just did what is that stuff called? I did a malapropism, as Neo, the grumpy old man of Mac, would like to call it, or I should say the grumpy old man of Atari computers that are not video games. Oh, no, that's not what I want to move. There we go. That's what I wanted to move. All right, does that look good now? That's good. Let's shrink this a little bit. And that's as good as it's going to get, folks. So, we are going to go back and forth between the browser and the VMs. Hi, all the people I noticed that are now following us. Welcome to Crypto Barons. This is where we look at cryptocurrency as a piece of technology as opposed to the snake oil in marketing. If you like what you see, you can click like, share, subscribe on our streams, Facebook, whether you're on Facebook Live or YouTube. If you do, I see you pop up, and congratulations. I shout you out on the stream. If you have any questions or anything about what I'm doing or saying, please let me know in chat. Otherwise, lurk and learn. Lurk and learn. That should be a DEFCON 201 shirt. But yeah. Alternative for Tails. If you want something that does something like Tails, but is a bit more lightweight, where did I put it on here? I think it's here. Nope. There we go. Kodachi. Linux Kodachi. It's based off of Ubuntu, which is the XFICE, so lightweight interaction client of Ubuntu. It works very similar to Tails, but it has a lot more features to Tails. In fact, they compare it here. While they do pipe everything over the Tor network, and they randomize the MAC address, and they do RAM wiping, hence why you can pull the tail stick out and it erases, and it comes with a hardened word browser. It also has multiple built-in VPNs, has built-in I2P, has multiple different types of wallets, comes with DNS crypt, and actually I recommend VeraCrypt or TrueCrypt, one of the two, but one of those. If you're going to do base Ubuntu or Debian, but we'll get to that in a moment. It's just a lot of features. You can do multiple DNS options. There's a Linux turner in it. It's a really good alternative to Linux, and if I remember correctly, it has a lower footprint, so it will actually do things even faster. And we're going to now look at that now. So let's bring up the VMware, and let's run Kodachi. And once that happens, I can now add it. So unfortunately, you're not going to see the boot screen for it, if I remember correctly. Or, yeah, because there's an automatic boot that happens. So I'm just going to do, let's see. Actually, I think I can do a Windows capture here. So let's edit that. We're going to turn off the browser, turn on the Windows capture. Let's move the Windows capture down a bit. Let's see if we can properly do this without it snapping everywhere. Let's see, shrink. There we go. Let's get one of the VMwares. There we go. Let's make this full screen. Ah, that's as big as it's gonna get. Darn it, is it? Let me double check. Yeah, that's as big as it's gonna get. Darn it. Alright, so I will try to make do with this. Center this. I'm gonna have to do this multiple times throughout the episode. This is the really boring part. Put this in the left corner over here. All right, so let's see what we have here. So again, you can put this as persistence or encrypted persistence. There's ways that you can do that I'm not going to go in right now, but all I can say is the easiest method that I've found is you use a Windows program called Rufus. It's literally the best one. You select that it has persistence on there. Tell it to fill how much rest of the data is on the USB stick or your VM. In this case, let's just assume we're doing this on a USB stick, USB stick, I should say. And then let's see. Yeah, I know. And as my roommate dies, and let me just spread this out. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Let me spread this out a bit more while I try to explain. I'm trying to multitask here. There we go. That's better. Bigger is always better, in my opinion. No, to do persistence, so you use a Windows program that I can't show on here because it doesn't screen capture very well, called Rufus. You select persistence, move it all out. Then you take a Linux operating system that has GNOME. There's a way you can do this also through command line, but it's really complicated. You can actually look up how Kali Linux does it, and it pretty much works. I think it also works on Ubuntu as well. But basically, my preferred thing is to use Rufus. You select persistence, you make that. Then you load into an operating system that has GNOME disks. So if it has the GNOME on Linux, you can install this for it, and then you click on that persistence and you make it a encrypted persistence. If you want it encrypted, if not, you can skip this step. But once you have Rufus in the persistence, you then go into live mode, you do a couple of commands to link it, then you reload the stick again, and then you select the persistence mode, and it'll remember everything that you do. With the lurk stuff, whether it's through command line or let me take a drink. Command line, or using bdisk to set it, not bdisk, GNOME disk to set it up. You can do that. But this is Kodachi, and we're going to go into legacy live mode, which means nothing will install on it exactly. Oh, now I can see this is going to happen a lot where it's going to change shapes. Yeah, here we go. What am I hitting here? That's better. Let's resize this window. So Kodachi is now loading right now, and eventually it will kick in and we'll be able to explore it more. If not, I have backup screenshots. Again, if anyone has any questions about what I'm doing or saying in chat, just let me know. If I'm too loud, or if I'm going too slow, if you have any questions about certain details. But Kodachi is something that I recommend, and when it finally loads, we're going to see why. It's funny because I said that it loads faster than Tails, but probably because it's going through a VM system and I'm streaming at the same time, it's going like way ungodly more slower for no reason, because again, it's not an episode of Crypto Barons unless something goes wrong. But actually, while that's loading, I will show you some screenshots about what I was talking about. So I'm going to turn on the browser layered above. Some of the screenshots I was talking about. So when it finally loads, it's going to look something like this. It has a widget that tells you the detail about the machine that you're on. That's probably why it's taking loading and all this stuff. So if you're like super into all the stuff that your machine does and what it's doing on the network, so you'll know like, hey, this thing spiked. That might mean someone's throttling my data. You can do stuff like that just straight on the desktop itself, which is neat. And then that's another good look at it, which has like the different. It shows you your Bitcoin balance if you have it connect together, your ISP address, your MAC, what VPNs you're on, etc. It has all these different multi-VPN options, including Tor and I2P. And its main thing here, when I can get to it, has a bunch of security apps. So by default, it comes with KeePass XC, Pigeon, Element, which is the newest version of Riot, Signal, Straghide, Fire Tools, GPA for managing your GPG keys, BleachBit, things like that. Now, what's really cool is that it has a separate containerized partition, virtualized container partition called a panic room, which has all of your, like, you can see your MAC address, it has all of your settings for your machine, so that even if somehow they break in and can like compromise or see your desktop, you can load the panic room and do security scans and edit settings and task management right here. And this partition has its own hypervisor, so it's really hard to crack in. And because of that, if I didn't scroll past it yet, it also comes in with 2 different crypto wallets. Let's see if it finally loaded. It's still loading. It's still loading. But basically it has 2 crypto wallets. It comes with has different versions of Firefox, of different configuration settings for your security. But yeah, it comes with 2 wallets. It comes with the Electrum wallet that you saw in Tails, and it also comes with its separate Monero wallet. And Monero, which is where we're going to cover in late September, is a cryptocurrency that is often used on the dark web and other Libre type things in order to be more secure and have more security. So as you can see here, for some reason Kodachi is taking forever, and I have no idea why. So unfortunately what I'm going to do is I am going to power off the machine, and we're going to look at a different operating system. So those are, so again, Tails and Kodachi I do recommend, even though that took really long, but that was literally probably because of this machine and the fact that I'm live streaming while doing it at the same time. Now, let's turn back on the browser again. There are operating systems that are configured to or helped with configuration just to to make essentially crypto currency. Those are the other two cryptocurrency wallets. One of the early attempts for these is known as BitKey. Now, BitKey is really interesting. It's basically a Linux operating system that is specific. I think it's based off of Debian, and it's specifically designed to make a cold storage or hot storage wallet. Now, here's the thing about this project. It has not been updated in like a year or two. Yeah, it hasn't been updated in like 2 years. So, it's supposed to be air gapless, but I don't know like if there's any new exploits or anything that anyone's known, because BitKey is not a common variant of a Debian operating system. So your mileage may vary, but I know that leading up to 2018, it had a lot of really good security functions and wide range of cryptocurrencies and options. So if the demo gods will allow us, we will take a look at that right now. So I'm going to start BitKey. Okay, so now I should be able to do the capture here. There we go. Okay, hang on a moment. Oh, that's why. Crap. That's why it's not doing anything. I went to the wrong window. My apologies, everybody. So, this is BitKey. It still has its old boot name, which is Turnkey Linux. And right off the bat, you'll notice something interesting here, is that its boot has 3 different pre-built boot options. And they also have different colored backgrounds to let you know visually which option you're currently booted in, right? So your options here is you have your cold offline, which is green, where you can create a wallet and sign transactions, and that's the only thing you're allowed to do with this. Then you have cold offline, which is recognized by blue, which is the watch wallet, and we'll get into that in a moment when we deal with Electrum. I believe we're going to be loading up I think we're going to be loading up base Ubuntu, if I remember correctly, and we're going to take a look at that. We might do it in another operating system, or you could load it into hot mode, which is red, where you could create or watch the wallet and prepare and sign transactions. The cold ones, the green and the blue, the internet, it doesn't connect to the internet automatically and just ignores the internet unless you want to turn it on. The hot one will auto try to connect to the internet, just like most operating systems. So we're going to go super safe, and we're going to load in the green wallet. And it's designed to be bootable. So you can't perma store it on here. You basically have to store it on a stick, or in this case, you put it in a bucket. No, you put it in a VM, and it'll just run directly off the VM disk. So for some reason it dumped us in green, but let's see, gangster red. Remove the BitKey, red, boot device, insert USB drive, black for data storage, and click Electrum to create or open your cold storage wallet. Actually, we might be able to do the cold storage wallet on here. So what it's saying here, which is actually smart, is it wants you to use 2 USBs or 2 or basically a VM and a USB. something we're going to cover in a bit. So what they want us to do is use another USB key for actual data storage on this operating system, so that because the live USB obviously doesn't have any main storage on it, so that's where it's going to do its memory, and then dual read, which is a more advanced thing that you can possibly do. So let's see, move the BitKey red boot device. Okay, so I just want to poke around here to kind of show you what it looks like here. So we have a bunch of different things. Unfortunately, again, this is kind of how big I can make the screen. See the wallet here, bit address, bit paper, QR code generator, password, coin bin, the terminal, editor, keyboard, file, printer. I think that's pretty much all of them. Let me actually look at something here. View. Let's check something. Okay. So let's try this. That wasn't much of an improvement. Okay. Good. Just want to make sure I can boot out of that. So let's see here. Let's look in the file manager. So yeah, that shows you there is no online network. You can't connect on here with it because that's the cold storage wallet itself. And that BitKey thing, that's the mount. That's where you would put your USB stick in order to do stuff. So as you can see, as an operating system itself is bare bones, because again, what it wants to do is it's designed to be just a it's designed just to be a cold storage wallet. So when we pick that mode, it completely clamps everything down. And one of these days I'm going to figure out on VM how that we can make different QR codes for your wallet. One of these days I'm going to have to sit down and figure out how you can actually like change the resolution size on here. I'm pretty sure NCommander might magically come in or something and like kick me in the face and explain why. Otherwise I'll probably learn it from Serocell, just because I'm very unfamiliar with running virtual machines. That's one of my Achilles heels. But yeah, that's BitKey. I just wanted to show that, so I'm going to exit out of that, power off, which means it's also going to forget everything, and we are good. Let's turn back the browser. So BitKey, it's designed itself to be a cold storage or hot storage hardware wallet, and it'll work flawlessly. The problem is that the project hasn't been updated in 2 years. It hasn't been officially canceled. It's just the dev team hasn't really been speaking out much about it and stuff, so it is supposedly air gapless. I would say use this at your own risk, but it is a very interesting concept that's a setup like this. Now, very recently, and then we're going to go back to Ubuntu and possibly Tails and figure this out, there's been a operating system that's entirely designed around blockchain called Liberty OS. Liberty. I'll shut up. As I said, it's the world's first blockchain operating system. It has its own coin called Liberty Coin, and if I remember correctly, I believe it's also based off of Debian. Uses a similar trade type system down here, and it's designed to be used both as a normal desktop and something to use cryptocurrencies on. Its main focus is being easy to use, fun cryptocurrency, and as secure as it can. So as a system-wide ad blocker, so even in other applications, it blocks those ads. It doesn't just block them in the browser. It comes built in with Steam, so if you want to play like games on Linux, you can do that. They have a no tracking claim. You can route everything through the Tor network, and it has a huge support of various cryptocurrency wallets. So as you can see here, you can do like normal browsing and Word documents and business stuff. And it has some built-in casual games as well as Steam, so you can play like Minecraft and stuff on it. It has Koinomi and a bunch of other wallets in it for you to use, multimedia stuff. So it's kind of like it's like Ninja. Jack's gonna hate me for this. It's like Ninja OS but for cryptocurrency, where you can use this as a hard or cold storage wallet, but it's also designed to be used as just a normal operating system, which is good because you might also want to privately browse something or whatever. So that's the next one we're going to show on here. So I'm going to make the browser go to sleep, and we're going to attempt to load Liberty OS. So I'm going to switch the view over. Go. So as you can see, we have just the boot. I know the install is right on the desktop, so we're going to boot this. We'll see how this goes. My first time actually ever looking at Liberty OS. I literally found this like a month or two to go. It's that new of a project. I think it's like been barely around for like a year, maybe 2 years, but it's very new. So I'm excited as you blocks and hashes are to see what this is like, because I've only seen this in screenshots. And again, if you have any questions about what I'm talking about, or you have any cool comments you want to say or anything, just let me know. And also, if you want to, as the thing now eats the entire stream, rebuild the cache. It's a dynamic linker, so we'll let this figure it out. If you do like what you see here on Crypto Barons, or you're curious about our other shows that are coming up next week's 2 weeks from now, such as Hackall and Commander, and Archvile Linux Perspective, and Master of Unlocking, which will happen next Sunday, as well as our normal meeting that's going to happen on September 18th, aka the third Friday of the month. Please, you can hit that bell or like, share, subscribe on any of our 3 main streams, Twitch TV, DTube, and YouTube. Sorry, Twitch TV, DLive, and YouTube. We have a DTube, but that's completely separate. That's going to be on another future episode of Crypto Barons, which I probably should have did instead this episode, but I'm having so much fun doing this because I love exploring operating systems. I actually am now starting to wonder if maybe I gave some of these too little memory to run on. So I might have to like reinstall these VMs again and give them a lot more like working memory to deal with. There was some where it said super low, so I actually gave it more memory than it normally recommends. And I'm just sort of like, so I'm like, okay, but this should load at some point. If not, at least we covered it. Again, I'm actually glad that if we're having technical difficulties, that the only technical difficulties is that these VMs aren't loading. Because, I'd rather have that than like me trying to program live, which I'm going to be doing a lot next year, and everything crashing and failing, or like one of the chain syncs not failing, because that's just horrible, because then I don't have any alternatives to show you. But this is just showing off website information and showing you guys. Now, what I'm crossing my fingers on is when we do stock Ubuntu, this should be very interesting, because I'm going to show you how to do the Electrum wallet once you've chosen an operating system. And then we're going to kind of conclude this episode, and we're going to go raid someone else's stream that's hopefully streaming right now. Maybe Project Melody is still streaming, I don't know. Also, I want to announce out there, slowly loading. I also want to announce out there that we are currently... we are slowly trying to get some sort of like donation stuff together officially, but because cryptocurrencies are kind of unofficial to some degree, that if you blocks and hashes want to generously donate different cryptocurrencies, I do have different addresses in my Coinomi wallet, and you can send those just like how Centerflare did a while ago with Zcash. Thank you for that. I'm gonna pull that out of my exchange and do good use. It's the same exchange actually, where hopefully next episode we'll finally do the pink coin removal. But yeah, Liberty OS finally just loaded. Has this giant install Liberty OS thing down here, and it's set up very Mac-like. You have a base calculator. See, it even does like the hop thing that Mac does. It's just gonna be in a VM, so it's gonna be kind of slow. But yeah, you can do like a calculation here where like 2 plus 2 should equal 4, which tells me 2020 hasn't completely eaten us yet, because normally we would type in 2 plus 2 and it'd say equal chair, because that's the type of world we live in. It has a base clock, system monitor, archive manager, software files. Has a whole word suite, Google Docs and stuff like that. Has RetroArch built in. I didn't know about that. Wow, it actually has RetroArch built right in. As you can see here, you can install this directly on your desktop, and I'm actually after this going to recommend that what type of computer you should probably install this on. Like, you could probably install on any like $20 to $40 used laptop, and that would do perfectly fine, just like my personal laptop here. But there is something for you more security-minded folks that I will recommend. And I think this is the one where I guess it's going to chug because it's been loading. But yeah, I'm going to just kill that. But yeah, RetroArch is built on here. Holy crap, I did not know that. What a world. Also to note, if you guys, if you blocks and hashes do subscribe on Twitch, DLive, or YouTube, I now see the notifications for all of them. So, and as a reminder for you guys on DLive, it's not a lot of lemons, but every Crypto Barons near the end of the episode, I always try to redistribute the lemons. That's a call for some drink of water. Because we try to get rid of much lemons as possible. When I get more of an income in, and again, that cryptocurrency that's donated will help, I will put in lots of lemons. I want to have, like, hundreds of lemons, and that way we do giant giveaways at the end. Oh, and DLive is built in. Yep, live stream on the blockchain. Wow, it's built in as an Electron app. That's cool. Telegram, Spotify. And from what I understand, if you load up this Spotify, I'm not going to test it now because I can't remember my account, but there are no ads on the Spotify. Again, it's a system-wide. It's like how the Brave browser says, or Tor, that it doesn't have any ads. Imagine that, but the entire operating system. So this is one of the few operating systems I can think of that built-in prevents ads being loaded. WhatsApp Dark, Discord's built in. Google Chrome's built in. That's one of my only nagging things. I would go in and install on Google Chrome on this if I was anyone else. There's the Electrum wallet, the Electron Litecoin wallet, My Crypto, Transmission, and to install Liberty OS. Now, I know there's some others in here, and I don't quite know. Maybe it's in this menu. Yeah, it's in this menu, so there's even more stuff because I know there's things we missed. It has Dolphin built in. Wow, Lutris. They're not kidding with the game stuff. They said it had Steam built in, but maybe you have to load that as a... Oh, here we go. Steam Runtime. Yep. And that will load in the client. Has GNU. I love that. Let's see here. Has Krita, Inkscapes. Yeah, it doesn't have... It has GIMP, but it has like the nice version. Pinta's built in. Wow, this is really robust. This might almost be my default operating system. Dropbox, FileZilla, Tor browser built in. So at least that's good. That balances out the Google Chrome. You can do everything in the Tor browser, as I showed her. Transmissions, which you can download and share. It's basically, which is a feature episode of itself, is I'm going to show in a future Crypto Barons episode as part of a broader topic of how to torrent over Tor, even though that does put stress on the Tor network itself. What's under accessories? Bulk rename. It has Catfish built in. This is actually kind of impressive. I'm going to explore this later on the VM. But let's go to cryptocurrency. So it has Koinomi, just like on your phone, where it just has like 8 billion things in it. There's Dash on here, Electron Cash, Electron Bitcoin Wallet, all of these. And actually what we're going to do, it has Exodus built in, which is a new one, Multi-Doge if you're into Dogecoin. Neo blockchain, NEO, not XIO like our Neo. But what we're going to do, just because this, actually, let me debate. Should I try to run Ubuntu on this, or should I just, You know what? I'm actually going to go ahead and show this right now, even though I'll try to load up Ubuntu later. Let's load up the Electrum Bitcoin wallet, and I'm going to show everyone, if I can, how, this is the topic of now that if you've chosen an operating system to load of any of that list, whether it's stock Ubuntu, Debian, Tails, Kodachi Linux, BitKey if you want to experiment, or Liberty OS if you want an all well-rounded thing. I'm going to show everyone how you would edit, where did I put my notes here? How you would edit, where are you? You went somewhere. It's somewhere around here somewhere. I know it. Here we go. How to set up your Electrum wallet. So let's see if it loaded. It has not loaded yet. It's probably going to take a while, just like it did in Tails. But I'll continue on with kind of explanation. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to create an offline wallet. You're going to make a standard wallet at first and create a new seed and set that all up, and you're going to get your 12 passwords and stuff. And then you're going to save the master public key, and you either write that down or you put it on, copy and paste it on another stick and put that. That's actually that encrypted USB stick. That's what that's good for. And then you and that's the computer that's not connected to the internet. So ideally, you want to do this on 2 separate machines. So on the offline computer, you just create the wallet and call it like offline or something. And then you can either connect to the internet or use a machine that's online, and you start up Electrum again, and then you you go to File, New Restore, and you select Use Public or Private Keys. You put the master key in. It's going to create a new wallet. You set up the transactions and stuff for that. But then you're going to create what's known as a watch wallet, which is one where when it connects to the internet, you can't do any transactions on that wallet. But what you could do is you could watch your Bitcoin and transactions. So when I catch up and you want to look at the ledger, what you've actually transacted and stuff, that's what you're going to create, is the watch only one. So you have one wallet that does transactions that never connects online, and then you have another client that connects online that shares the same system resources, but it's just going to watch what did it just do? I did that old chestnut. Okay, so let's see here. I'm sure if I click the application again, it'll bring it back up. Maybe. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I feel kind of bad now because I'm like, there we go. All right. So let's see. How do you want to connect to the server? Let's say select server automatically. Are we connected to the internet on this? We have the wired connection. This one. Let me think about this. I'm pretty sure if I disconnect from this, it's not going to do anything to the stream. So if I disappear from the stream, now you know why. So what we're going to do is, actually, you know what? I'm curious about something. Let's try running the Ubuntu. So what we might be able to do, is we're going to run 2 VMs now. And we're going to have one that is going to do the offline stuff. I'm going to add another Windows capture. So I'm just going to call this one Ubuntu. And we're going to have the Liberty OS one open. So Liberty OS is our online one, and the Ubuntu one is our offline one. And that way we can do some experiments on Ubuntu that I've been wanting to do for a while. Like literally I've been wanting to do for so long. Just realized something. Okay. So I have to actually drag it down here. And I'm going to rename this one on here to Liberty OS. So hopefully, and if I'm truly bored, I'm just going to skip this step and at least I explained it to you all how it works. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Mouse pointer integration. Yep. We're just waiting for Ubuntu to load, so it's going to take a bit. If I am really bored, I might just do everything on the Liberty Unix side and leave Ubuntu alone. And actually, I just realized that on the Liberty OS side, I have 2 different windows open. So there we go. Okay, so Ubuntu is a black screen now. And this will be neat. So hopefully we will be able to jump back and forth between 2 operating systems and set up the hot and cold wallets and see what's up. And again, if anyone has any questions about what I'm doing, or if I sound too low, or you want to shout out the hair or whatever, please let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I love my lurkers. I like that you guys are sitting there and learning all of this and staying up near next to midnight just to watch me do cryptocurrency technology stuff. And if you like what you see, you can click on that bell, like, share, or subscribe on our 3 major platforms that you're watching on Twitch, DLive, or YouTube. If you do, I will see the alerts for them and cheer you on, because I love that type of stuff. And we do have a lot of other cool programs that happen. I don't really think there's anything happening next week outside Master of Unlocking next Sunday. Like, not this Sunday, the Sunday after. But 2 weeks from now is going to be Hackall and Commander, if I remember correctly, where he does a lot of like cool retro computing hacks and stuff like that. I'm gonna yawn. It's past my bedtime. Oh, and I just realized something. Darn it. I have rotten turnips again in Animal Crossing. Because today's Saturday. I keep thinking today's Friday, so I didn't get a chance to sell them. Oh well, I'm just gonna have to buy new turnips tomorrow morning. And if you don't know what Animal Crossing is, just don't pay attention to me randomly rambling. Yeah, I'm gonna have to buy whole new turnips and then actually log in at one point and sell those turnips. Okay, that is a freaky background. That is a freaky background. Alright, so everything's still loading in Ubuntu, and it seems like the stream's running perfectly fine here, so I'm just waiting. That was a nice sound. Actually, that's a good point. Yeah, no, everything's running through here. So, I don't know if you guys heard that. You blocks and hashes heard that, but there was like a little jingle. Okay, so there's a wired connection that happened automatically. I'm going to attempt to kill that on the Ubuntu. It wants me to... Yeah, I just want to try Ubuntu. I'm not going to install it. Not yet. We'll see what happens. Once I click that, I'll probably... The rest of the options in GNOME will appear, probably. It's crazy because I'm running on like a high-end Alienware gaming laptop, and that's how much resources frickin' VMs use, so that's why I'm just like sitting here waiting, because Liberty seems to be mostly snappy, so stock Ubuntu, it's definitely something. Definitely something. Definitely, as Neo would say. I'm gonna take a sip of water to that. Oh. And we have errors. Well, that sucks. Well, I guess I'm gonna kill that. Power off the machine. Okay, so now we're just with the one VM that's now in double mode on. I have to kill this one. That's sad, because I will skip ahead and show, if Ubuntu would have run correctly, what I wanted to show you. So I'm actually going to take off Liberty OS and put the browser back on. What I was going to show you, folks, is if you're on Twitch, you can scroll down from where I'm streaming, and there's a little portal to our GitHub. And we have this pinned on the top of the GitHub, and I have the open link here somewhere here. I know I have it here. It is somewhere here. Or maybe I was stupid and I like accidentally closed the window or something. Here it is. So yeah, we forked this. Let me go back to the original one, but MWC project. And basically what it is that if you have an Ubuntu on a stick, or in that case an Ubuntu on DM, you can take a second USB stick. Remember how BitKey wanted to use a separate USB stick for data storage? So you take that one, and this is what we were going to originally do. We were going to clone the project here. You wouldn't have been able to see it, but we would have done this command, cloned it. We've copied the project into the main directory of the USB drive, and then copy the chain of the MWC node from your blockchain onto that drive. You would then boot the USB stick, or in this case we would boot up the Ubuntu VM, and then once we're in Ubuntu, you would have basically, when you load that in, you would open the terminal in Ubuntu with the make sure you would open up files, make sure that read the stick, which is what we would have done in the VM that had the this GitHub project on there, and then go in the terminal, and you would then run the sh script. You would chmod it to make sure you can actually run it, and then run the script, and basically it will set up all the gapless and blockchain stuff for Ubuntu automatically. So we were originally going to show that, but the VM's not working because it's Crypto Barons and it's DEFCON 201 where nothing works. But yeah, you can go to MWC project / cold storage. I'm going to put the URL in the chat here, and if you are on Twitch, you can see our GitHub on there, and we have the project pinned at the top. So that's what we were going to show off there. Let me see if we can do this in Electrum. So let's try this. So I'm going to take the browser off. We're going to go back here. Now, if everything goes hunky-dory, hopefully, with this, I'm going to, where did I put my notes again? Here we go. I believe I can take the VM offline, like off the wired connection, and nothing bad will happen to our connection. So, disconnect. Yep. We're still streaming. I'm just being paranoid. Alright, so now that we do that, I'm going to show you the steps I was talking about earlier. So we're just going to do it directly on Liberty OS. So on the offline, we just loaded it. So we're going to call this wallet offline, if I can. Next, we're going to want to create a standard wallet. And we're going to create a new seed for it. Let's see here. So seed type, we're just going to choose the SegWit because that's the current modern standard. And what's going to happen here, and this, I'm not going to be using this. This is like literally a throwaway, and obviously there's no persistence on this, so it won't remember this. But what it's going to do is it's going to generate this new wallet, and it's going to give me the mnemonic code of 12 words. Eventually, when we get into a certain project, I'm actually going to explain why you're given all of those random words in order to start. I know every time you make a Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency client, you're always given like 12 to 24 words. There's a, yep, right here, let's see, we have levels. I wonder if I can actually copy between the two operating systems, which I've actually never done before. Let's try that. Nope, I can't. So I'm going to have to manually type this, which is fine. Just shrink this window down. Here we go. Because I'm only using this to teach you guys. So level, well, as you can hear, I can type really fast when I'm not distracted and hungry. The biatch of this is going to be the master key. So that's the words, and it says never disclose the seed, but the thing is that this is literally going to be a throwaway. I'm never going to use this account for anything. So now we're going to confirm the seed, so now I have to type everything from the notepad that I just wrote into here. And you notice how when I type it, it automatically brings up the word. I'm going to explain why after I type everything in. So the reason is that there's a book format, and I can't remember what it's called now, but basically there are over like 2,000 of these words, and they're in alphabetical order, and it's a standard that pretty much all cryptocurrency wallets use, and those random lists of slightly over 2,000 words make up this entire thing. It's the actual reason why you can use a certain numbering system to remember which words for the seeds or what. But we will get into that in the future Crypto Barons when we go over what are called metal paper wallets, and I'm going to rope that into paper wallets. I have to go buy the things first, but it's going to be nuts. But we'll get into that whole booklet and everything when that happens. So then it's going to do a password. I just want to see if it blots it out. Okay. So I'm just going to make up a password right here. So and then we're going to confirm it. And that's going to encrypt this. So it's a reassure we use this latest version of Electrum. Yes. And that's the new version. That's our wallet. That's our offline wallet that normally would be on another device. And we would never, ever use that. But and we'll never put that online. Now, for this purposes, we are going to put it online because unfortunately Ubuntu failed. But we're going to do one last step here. So we're going to go to wallet. If it'll let me select it. Wallet. Oh, come on. Oh, it's synchronizing. That's why I keep forgetting this part. Yeah, this is the part that's going to take forever. I completely forgot about this. Otherwise, I would have been running this the entire time Crypto Barons was running. Well, anyhow, like I was saying before, what you would do is you would click wallet and click master public keys, and it'll spit out this long character master public key. I think it's like 32 characters. Different. It's basically different. I think it's now. They haven't put special symbols, so it's just different capital and lowercase English alphabet letters and Arab Arab numerals. But yeah, you would take that and you would copy that. So both the passphrases that showed me, as well as that master key that I would do under wallet and master public key, I would physically write down or copy and paste it into an which is less secure. Copy and paste it into a encrypted USB stick. Then I would have turned this back online because it's going to take forever to sync. That's why we're not doing this. Yeah, because it's not going to, I don't think it's going to let me select anything until yeah, it's not going to let me select anything until the whole thing is synced, unfortunately. So, but then we would go in and we would just go under File, New and Restore to create a new wallet, and we would call that one online, and we would use our you would select use public or private keys, and then use that master key that we wrote down or copied and pasted to a secure encrypted location to create this new wallet. And that new wallet will be the watch only wallet, and that's the only thing that actually connects online. The other one you would do paper wallet through Tor nodes with like web interfaces, and you would send that way, and then you would use the online wallet to watch, and you would ideally do it on 2 different computers. I also recommend that, like I said, we were looking at Liberty OS, and I noted that you could really use this. See if I can actually close this. Use this as like a desktop, right? And so if you wanted to use it as a desktop, and I think this is what I'll leave with everyone here, since something's going to work. Again, thank you all for watching me on this. I really do enjoy presenting this type of stuff. But if you are looking into creating a let's see here. It's the first time I actually get to say something good about these guys. I think they're called, because I forget which company. Oh, I know what company makes them. So yeah, Purism. Normally I don't have the highest opinion about them, but instead of making a cold storage wallet, if you are looking for an operating system that does a lot of cryptocurrency stuff that's apparently secure, but you want to make sure it's fully secure, like the way a cold or hard storage wallet, or basically you want a computer that acts like a cold storage wallet or a cold to hot storage wallet that's selective in its hotness, I actually recommend going to Purism, go to their products, and get either the Librem 14 or Librem 15 laptops. Let's check out the well, the 14 apparently is on the pre-order, but let's check out the 15. And the reason why I recommend their laptops, their hardware laptops, you can erase this operating system and put Liberty OS on instead, which I recommend to do, probably because I don't have the highest opinion about Pure OS, even though it meets the GNU standard. It's a good product. It's Core i7, 32 gigabytes of DDR4 memory, 4K screen output. Is that it has a lot of like cold storage like features on it. So it has kill switches for everything. You can hardware switch off the webcam. You can hard switch off the microphone or the speakers and the Bluetooth and the internet. So that's why I would recommend this. So if you want like like a competent Bitcoin desktop that has like really like cold storage hardware security features, my suggestion would be buy a computer from Purism, the Librem 15, or if it comes out and you can afford it, the Librem 14 laptop. It gives you all the hardware control and kill switches. Then boot up Liberty OS. It wasn't responding. It choked because I'm streaming. Load up Liberty OS. Click on install Liberty OS. Wipe the Pure OS off. Put that on there. And then let's see. Do the Electrum wallet thing that I showed you on there to make sure that you have an offline wallet that's just for transactions and an online watch-only wallet that can't make transactions but can watch your account. And then you can also get the Librem key in addition to it, which has Pure Boot on it. That basically is the custom authenticator for booting your computer on. So you need to have this thing, and your computer will turn on Liberty OS at the hardware level, and then you can hardware-wise shut the internet off or shut the camera off and switch between using your offline cold storage wallet and hard-on wallet. You can also spin it up as a separate VM. And just go back to our original webpage. That is going to be it for Crypto Barons. So thank you for everyone. This is actually probably one of the shortest episodes we've ever done. It's probably going to be like 2 to 3 hours long. Usually it goes on forever. It went on a little bit longer than I thought it would. That's what she said. But thank you all for watching this episode. I hope everyone, despite some of the errors that always happens on Crypto Barons and DEFCON 2.1 shows, I hope you all learned stuff. I had so much fun teaching this. If you're interested, the next episode... Actually, let's do one last quick thing before I forget. And that is, we're going to go to DLive. And I have no idea if anyone is even watching us on DLive. But this is DLive. We covered it on episode 3. Uses a lot of blockchain technology stuff in order to do cool things. So even if no one's in here, I'm still going to do this out of like pure tradition here. Where I'm going to... Oh, it's still listed us as Super Mario 64. I wonder why people probably are not watching in here. But regardless, what I'm going to do, which is what I always normally do, is I'm going... Actually, you know what? Let's fix that real quick. I completely forgot that G.I. Jack has his show on something... Has his show on a different topic, because we usually just leave this on technology. And I haven't done Crypto Barons in so long, because this month had 5 weeks in it, that I forgot to switch it over to cryptocurrency instead of whatever the heck Jack was playing, which is Super Mario Brothers. So this is what it should have been on. So what I'm going to do, which is basically per tradition at this point, is I'm going to click on the lemon box and I'm going to distribute it. And in the next 28 seconds, whoever gets it, gets it. And in that time, I'm going to say thank you for watching us on Crypto Barons. If you, let me actually, that's Twitch. You have 13 seconds left. If you like the show, you can hit the click like, share, subscribe, or the bell button on either DLive, Twitch, or YouTube. And sorry, I'm doing a lot of us today. Let's see. Did something go through? Yeah, unfortunately, those winners. I will spin it up again real quick. But yeah, and actually, let's make this a little bit more tactful. I'm gonna actually turn off the browser and move myself over and make myself large and in charge. Blur. There we go. I probably should have had N Commander on this episode because he's way better at doing VMs. And probably maybe spin up the VMs I was trying to spin off on Akal N Commander just to spite me, because he likes torturing me because we love torturing him. But no, thank you for watching Crypto Barons. Again, if you like what you see, you can hit that, and I'm going to send the lemons again. You can hit that like, share, subscribe button on Twitch, DLive, or YouTube. And in that time, we are going to now find another stream to raid. Oh, the audio just kicked out for some reason. Hold on. Why did that happen? Hang on there. Can you all hear me out there? Okay, there we go. Sorry, it was just a weird... Why is this happening? Alright, it was just this weird thing. Let's just see if we're all still connected here. You guys are still out there? You all good? You all good? Yeah, we're still streaming. So yeah, we're going to figure out a channel we're going to raid. But yeah, thank you for watching this. You can like, share, subscribe on this video. The next episode of Crypto Barons, we do the 2nd and 4th Fridays of the month. So that will be on the 11th. Oh wow, the episode's on September 11th. I don't know if what I'm going to talk about is going to be topical that day, but, you know, our schedule is a schedule, so I'm still going to abide by that, because our 2nd and 4th Friday, so the next 2 episodes will be September 11th and September... No, actually, not September 11th. We're actually going to avoid it. Sorry. Saturday, so it's September 12th is the next episode of Crypto Barons, followed by September 26th. Whew, I've dodged a bullet right there. Or dodged a plane, I should say. Ha! But, yeah, the next episode of Crypto Barons will be on September 12th. I don't know what the topic's going to be yet. It's probably going to be what I wanted to do today, which was explore a darknet that uses blockchain called ZeroNet. And we're trying to actually make a website variant on ZeroNet. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks I'll have that up and running, and I'll share that with you all. And it's a really cool darknet if you haven't seen it. It's like, I actually like visiting it more than Tor, and definitely more than I2P, because I2P barely works. So that will probably be next episode. And then on the 26th, we're going to explore cryptocurrencies on cryptocurrencies that have actual privacy and security functions built in. So we're going to, the reason I sound distracted is because I'm looking for streams to raid here. So, oh, you'll love Vi. Vi does a lot of retro hack stuff. We're gonna raid him tonight. As much as I want to keep up to date, and you should definitely check out the Woke channel on Twitch, because they keep up with all of the protests and injustices going on. I like Vi, so we're going to go raid Vi. He needs the viewership because he's really awesome. So, do you keep wanting to sneak onto the stream? Is that why you're wearing the test subject shirt? Which, you know, if you wear that shirt on our meeting, you might end up becoming the test subject. But, maybe we'll make N Commander wear that when we go up, because I like your idea of a torture. We're not saying it on here, but I really like the idea. Yes, thank you, Fluffykins, awesome name by the way, for watching the stream. So we're gonna go raid Vi's stream. He's probably doing some crazy retro hack. You should stick around definitely for that if you're on Twitch. As I said, in future Crypto Barons episodes, we always distribute lemons. Thank you again for watching the stream. I'll see you on the 12th. Next week is not going to be anything except for the Master of Unlocking, which is my other show where I teach lockpicks and lockpicking and all that wonderful jazz. But then we'll get back into Hack All N Commander with some crazy stuff with him. We're going to get into a new episode of Archvile. And then our meeting is going to happen on the 18th, which is all Mac themed, which is going to make Neo pull his hair out. So, literally, that's going to be a part of the meeting. It's going to be really fun. I'm not kidding with that. But yeah, for the last time, because I keep repeating it, thank you for... You're going to photobomb my screen, aren't you? Thank you for watching Crypto Barons. If you want to check us out more, you can go to DEFCON201.org, which we will hopefully sometime next week, because it's partly my fault, update the stream, probably take down the rainbow stuff, because while we do support the LGBT community, it's
September already.
Yeah, you know, we're like the people that like didn't put the Christmas decorations away last Christmas, sort of thing.
Right.
So I'm gonna set up the raid.
Hack the planet!
Yep, we're gonna get into that in a second. So thank you for watching the stream. You can check us out at, oh god, that's so weird, defcon201.org. Stick around for Vi Gray madness. If you're on Twitch that we're gonna raid with. I can't wait to see you next time on the 12th doing something crazy with cryptocurrency. You know, thanks for sticking around. Dirty Jersey represent. And
Hack the planet!
yep, hack the planet. See ya in about a week or so on Sunday of weirdness.
They're trashing our rights! Trashing!
I still have to put that audio file in there. But yes, thank you. And enjoy Vi Gray. Peace.